Which is better to have, an LLC or a trust? That is a question that has gained a lot of traction and popularity lately. And it's understandable. With the explosion of information being spread across social media and the introduction of the Corporate Transparency Act, folks are left wondering, which one should they have? And that's why your favorite Uncle Cousin is here to help you figure it out. So, in today's video, I'm going to walk you through the difference between an LLC and a trust. I'm going to show you why LLCs exist, how they are formed, and what they're used for. And I'm going to do the same for a trust. I'm going to show you why a trust exists, how they are formed, and what they're used for. And you'll want to make sure you stay to the end because I'm going to show you which one you should choose and why. Let's go. All right, fam, let's go ahead and jump right into this. On the surface, an LLC and a trust are very similar. They both are legal entities. They both can make money, and if done correctly, they both can protect your assets. How they differ is this. An LLC is a legal entity that has been granted permission by the state specifically to transact business. Whereas a trust is a fiduciary contract between two people, the settlor and the trustee, to manage and protect assets and wealth and distribute them to the stated beneficiary. Therefore, to put it differently, the main difference between a trust and an LLC is their purpose. And to get a good understanding of their purpose, we are going to have to take a look at why they were created in the first place. Let's start with the LLC. To truly understand why the LLC was created, we're going to have to take a look at its predecessor, the corporation. The first American corporation was created in 1970. And according to American journalist Ambrose Bierce, it was created as an ingenious device for obtaining profit without individual responsibility. We're going to unpack that later. You see, a corporation is a legally distinct entity that has many of the rights attributed to us as individuals. These rights include the ability to enter contracts, take out loans, sue others, be sued, own assets, pay taxes, and so on. But in order to obtain this level of being able to do most everything that an individual can do, but without the liability, there was a crap ton of paperwork, government regulations, restrictions, and internal government that must be done. And in most cases, it takes a lot of money to achieve it, which is why most corporations raise capital through the sale of stocks. So seeing that it took a great deal of capital, organization, and governance to form and operate a corporation, in 1977, one state decided to make a hybrid for its residents to make it easy for them to form a business and make some money, but without all the extra. And that state was the great state of Wyoming. And in the years to follow, all of the other states decided to follow suit. So let's all give Wyoming a standing ovation. So, knowing that, we can now see that an LLC is a hybrid between a corporation and a sole proprietor. That is why they are called limited liability companies and not limited liability corporations. Words matter. All right, so now that we know that, we can see that the purpose of an LLC is to allow a single person to form a state-recognized entity, therefore obtaining some of the legal protections of a corporation, but with the flexibility of a sole proprietor, allowing for the separation of its owner's affairs from that of the business, eventually. Now, there is still a lot of rules and regulations that an LLC must follow in order to be operated properly, just not as much as a corporation. And to form an LLC, all you have to do is complete the application supplied by your state secretary, pay the fee, and wait for them to approve the application. That's it. Now let's look at the trust. In the same manner as an LLC, in order to truly understand the purpose of a trust, we first have to understand something else: the will. Now, a will is a legal document that you create that coordinates the distributions of your assets after your death. And if you have minor children, it can appoint guardians for them. However, all the assets that are named in a will have to go through what is called probate. And probate simply means that the government, by way of the courts, will have to get involved. You see, during probate, the courts will validate your will, approve your named executor, assess the value of your assets, pay your creditors, and the taxes. Also, the probate is public, lengthy, and can be costly. So to avoid all that, people form trusts. And like the LLC and a corporation, a will and a trust, very similar. They both are legal instruments that ensure your assets are passed to your designated beneficiaries according to your wishes. The main difference between a will and a trust is the control and the timing. A trust gives you way more control over the distributions of your assets because you cut out the probate courts in most cases. And if your estate is large enough, it can also help reduce your taxes. As far as timing goes, a will only goes into effect after you die, whereas a trust can be implemented while you're alive so long as it had been funded. Funded means that there are assets inside the trust that have been signed a dollar amount, and the trust is named as the owner of those assets. Therefore, knowing this, we can see that the purpose of a trust is to bypass probate and have control over your assets from beyond the grave, but while you're living. Now, forming a trust is a lot more complex than forming an LLC. Remember, a trust is a fiduciary contract between two parties to benefit a third, which means, in my opinion, you should consult a trust attorney or a very experienced, authorized individual when it comes to drafting what is called the instruments of the trust. You do not want to rely on cookie cutter software to form your trust. When forming a trust, the things you really must consider is what's going into the trust. Who is going to be the trustee? Who are going to be the beneficiaries? How will the trust be managed, and how are they to be distributed? And that's just on the surface level. Those are surface level considerations. That's why I strongly suggest that you sit with an attorney or an experienced individual when forming a trust, because the language in the trust can get complicated depending on how much control you want to have over the distributions of the assets and wealth inside of the trust. For example, I'm petty. I know I am. I have a beautiful daughter, and I wish to protect her even when I'm gone. So in my trust, there was language in there that the man she married has to be a certain way, or she ain't getting nothing, because I ain't supporting him and he ain't doing nothing. So, and she know this. She told her, your daddy's petty. If you want to get what I got in this trust, you gonna have to marry right? And the same thing go for my boys. I'm not, what they call like mansplaining or whatever that the thing is, misogynistic, I think it is. No, but I love my daughter and I love my children, but I know these men out here. Anyway, let me get off my soapbox. Now, bringing us back to the point of this video, LLC or trust. Well, as you can see, the LLC was created mainly for business purposes. Yes, a trust can generate money like a business, but an LLC is established specifically to facilitate the transactions of making a living by engaging in commerce that the U.S. government recognizes. To make money in an LLC, there are very specific things that you're going to have to do. whereas a trust is formed to manage, protect, and distribute the proceeds of an assets of what was made and acquired through your lifetime. The only way a trust makes money is through the assets that are placed in the trust. For example, if you place rental property in a trust, it will now be the owner, or should I say the trust will now be the owner of the rental, and the rental income now belongs to the trust. So here we are. Which one should you choose? In my humble opinion, I'm going to say both. As we can see, you will first need to acquire some assets so that you can place them inside the trust. And you can do that by first starting your business. But, and please hear me out, there's a caveat to this. Do this when it makes financial sense. Understand, you do not need an LLC to start your business. However, when you get to a certain point in your business where it makes sense to form an LLC, then do so. And it's the same with the trust. If you don't have any assets that are worth protecting, then do not form a trust until you do. It makes absolutely no sense to pay all that money to form a trust and you don't have any assets to put into it. Understood? Great. And here's a bonus play. Listen, if you plan on having beneficiaries and you know your business is going to last way beyond you, you can set up a trust and have the trust be the owner of your business. That way you don't have to worry about them taking over the family business if they don't want to, but still all of the earnings for the business will be distributed to them according to the laws that you set out of the trust. So as we can see, it's still beneficial to do both, but only when it makes sense to do so. All right, family, there you have it. The difference between an LLC and a trust is their purpose. The purpose of an LLC is specifically to transact business. The things you do to make money in an LLC is going to be completely different than the things you do to make money in a trust. The things you do in an LLC is going to focus on customer acquisition, creating your products, sales strategies, marketing. None of that is necessary for a trust. The purpose of a trust is when you make assets, when you acquire wealth and you want to pass probate, you want to bypass probate and get this wealth and assets to your beneficiaries. That's when the trust come in. Yes, the trust can make money, but only based off the assets that you put in it. So now you know, is it good to have both? Absolutely. Which one you want to get first? In my opinion, I'm going to say start with the business, acquire those assets so you have something to put into the trust. And yes, I said it, you do not need an LLC to start your business. You see the shirt, it tells you real hustlers don't need an LLC to get started. If you're curious how, I've created the No LLC 5-day challenge. You can click the link down in the bio, you'll see it there. And that's it for me, my good people. You now know, trust, LLC. Get them both, but do so when it makes financial sense to do so. And that's it again for me. If you like this video, make sure that you give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell notification. Obviously, leave me a comment. Let me know your thoughts. Know that I love you guys, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.
Perfect.